Every day you see, smell, touch, taste, and hear everything around you. One day you wonder, what is everything made of? Everything is made of atoms, of course. Atoms make up the smallest units of matter. Today, we will explore the amazing history and facts of what atoms are. The term atom comes from a Greek word meaning uncuttable. A Greek philosopher named Democritus from the 5th century in BCE believed matter was made of tiny pieces that cannot be broken down any smaller. Since then, people call these tiny pieces called atoms indivisible parts of matter. Today, we know that atoms are made up of 3 parts: protons, neutrons, and electrons. These parts are made up of even smaller pieces called quarks and leptons. Groups of 3 quarks merge together forming protons and neutrons. Protons are made up of 2 positive quarks and 1 negative quark. Neutrons are made up of 1 positive quark and 2 negative quarks. There are 6 kinds of leptons, one in which is called an electron. Then, protons and neutrons bond together into groups big and small based on whatever substances makes up. When the bond of protons and neutrons come together, the group becomes what's called a nucleus. Now, remember, the protons are positively charged and the neutrons are negatively charged. No matter how many protons or neutrons, the nucleus has an equal amount of force. Now, the electrons are heading towards the nucleus. Just like how positive and negative bind together, the protons are pulling the electrons. But the neutrons are trying to push it back from it, keeping the electrons orbit around the nucleus at a steady distance. This forms an atom. This force is called nuclear force. The nucleus has the same amount of nuclear force for itself as for the electrons. So, the equal amount of positive and negative force together equals an equal amount of force. We can compare this to a magnet. The positive side and negative sides are different, making them attract. But negative and negative sides are the same, making them repel. It's time to learn some mind-blowing, fantastic, microscopic facts. Quarks make up atoms. Atoms make up molecules. Molecules make up cells. Cells make up blood cells. Blood cells make up organs, and organs make up your body. There are about 7 billion atoms in your body, with 98% of them replaced yearly. Atoms can break themselves into even smaller atoms. This is a basic type of atom. Atoms in real life look like this. Atoms are 99.9% empty space with tiny amounts of mass. The atom has so much space that if an atom was the size of a sports arena, the nucleus would be the size of a pea. It takes not 1, not 10, not even 50, but it takes 1,836 electrons to equal the mass of just 1 proton. There are over 100 types of atoms, with only 92% of them occurring naturally and the rest occurring in labs. Atoms can attach to each other to make molecules. For example, hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen atoms can make carbone, water, vinegar, methane, benzene, and acetic molecules. The 10 most common atoms ever known in order are hydrogen, helium, oxygen, carbon, neon, nitrogen, magnesium, silicon, iron, and sulfur. Oxygen atoms make up the air we breathe. Nitrogen atoms make up stellar gas from fusion. Sulfur has 16 protons and electrons. Okay, so let's move on. What elements make up our 3 most common atoms ever discovered? Let's see. So, hydrogen atoms are made up of 1 proton, 1 electron, and no neutrons. Helium atoms are made up of 2 protons, 2 electrons, and 2 neutrons. Oxygen atoms are made up of 8 protons, 8 electrons, and 8 neutrons. Atoms are tiny, literally tiny. The average size of an atom is about 1/10 of a billionth of a meter across. The largest atom ever known in the universe is called the cesium atom. It is 9 times bigger than the smallest atom, helium. Hydrogen atoms make up nearly 75% of the Milky Way, hitting the record as the most plentiful atom yet. In an atom, the electrons are so far away that if the nucleus was the size of a basketball, the electrons would be orbiting in the nucleus 2 miles away. In conclusion, atoms are amazing. They make up all matter. They are in everything. We have learned that atoms are made of even smaller parts called leptons and quarks. We've also discovered that atoms are nearly empty. They take up only about 0.1% of space. We have learned a lot about atoms. Have you ever wondered, what is everything made of? Now you know, everything is made of atoms.